A meeting of the minds. The leaders of the world's most industrialized nations have started to arrive in Toronto, Canada for the G20 and G8 summit meetings. The G8 summit officially gets underway tomorrow in Toronto, but RT already has several crews on the ground there as well. RT producer Lindsay Garfield joins us now to break down what's happening there and what we can expect in the days to come. Hey there, Lindsay. I understand you guys got in yesterday. The conference actually kicks off tomorrow, but I want to hear, what's it like there?
Hey there, Christine. Well, yes, we got in yesterday, and today we've been in the press center, and so we have two conferences, the G8 and the G20. The G8 is starting tomorrow, and it's going to be in Muskoka in a town called Huntsville, which is about 2 hours north of Toronto, which is where we are right now. The G8, which is taking place in Muskoka, as I said, is the oldest one of the G8 and the G20. It's the meeting of 8 global leaders. It'll be the United States, Russia, of course, Canada, of course, hosting, lots of other countries, the big world powers, and they'll be talking, they have a big agenda. They have a lot to tackle here. They'll be talking about the developing nations, how to help them out. That's one of the things you don't really hear about too much, but it's more, you know, the politics of it, how they're going to help them out, lots of foreign policy things that we'll be seeing here.
Lindsay, how does this work? I want to talk to you about the meetings themselves. Do you have a sense of, you know, sort of the layout of when, you know, how they meet with each other and also some of the most important items on the agenda?
Yes, well, like I said, talks will be starting tomorrow in Muskoka. The leaders, the heads of state from these 8 different countries, they'll be starting, they have 3 big points on their agenda. They have developing nations, so they really want to make sure that, you know, poor nations, that they get safe water, safe food, and plenty of it. That's certainly been a big problem, and something that, you know, that's not really reported on too much. Another big issue is lots of foreign policy things we want to tackle. There have been tensions between North Korea and South Korea that will certainly be addressed. Also Iran, this is probably going to be the biggest topic of discussion. Iran, their nuclear program, we covered this back at the nuclear summit in Washington, D.C. in April. You know, the UN just passed these sanctions, so I think what we've been hearing is that they're going to be reiterating a lot of what the UN has said about having Iran cooperate and, you know, kind of rein in their nuclear program. And then certainly they'll be talking about climate, about, you know, the oil, reining in this oil crisis that we have. That's a big issue, and they're going to talk about how to end our dependency on fossil fuels.
Certainly all important topics. Lindsay, I know you've been there in the press center all day. I want to know if you have heard anything about the vehicle that was found nearby where the G20 is taking place, near Toronto there, that was found to have weapons inside, maybe explosives. What have you heard on your end about that?
Well, yes, you know, reports have just been coming in. This happened only a couple of minutes ago. We've been hearing a little bit about it in the press center. A man, 53 years old, drove his car to downtown Toronto, right around the convention center, which is where we were yesterday. Lots of heavy security, police just roaming everywhere. And, you know, there's big chain link fence. So this man reportedly drove down there. He had weapons in his car, just baseball bat, gasoline, a chainsaw, you name it. It was some pretty intense stuff. And, you know, actually, we've been following the security a lot here. RT's correspondent Lauren Lister has a full report on it for you.
Canada is getting ready for a meeting of world leaders to top all others. In security, that is, and it's for 2 meetings, really.
We have 20,000 people working for the security of both the G8 summit in Huntsville and the G20 summit here in Toronto.
By people, he means police, security guards, even Air Force, here in Toronto, locking down the city days ahead of the G20 summit, causing some to call it
a police state
and adding to a security bill estimated to be the largest in G8, G20 history, also in the host countries.
It is the biggest security operation in Canadian history. So it's bigger than the Olympics that just happened in Vancouver.
The biggest, and I bet not even an Olympic athlete could scale this fence, 12 feet high, stretching 5 kilometers in the city. Right now, serving as a place for cops to hang their hats. But ultimately,
from protesters to prevent them from gaining access or to the summit site itself.
But the protesters gathering down the street at a park ahead of the summit.
This is the free speech zone.
Getting ready to bring their message to the G20.
It's a problem of global capitalism, global corporatism, global colonization, which is ongoing.
Such as these hip-hop artists.
We're living right now in a police state.
Say it's about much more than that.
I really think it's just, the whole thing is just an effort to militarize Toronto.
Illogic believes it's a response to the unrest seen in the global economic crisis.
Get people used to the idea that police and these crazy measures are a normal part of your society, and people are accepting it, and it's really scary.
And some Canadians do appear to welcome it.
It's good. It makes me feel safe.
I think we have very little control over that, so there's no point just complaining about it.
But the government doesn't appear to be in control either, of the security budget at least.
They're talking around the $300 million mark, but if you put everything together, we're approaching the $1 billion mark.
Maybe the Canadian government made up for some of that money here at the Press Centre, where they were reportedly to have a $2 million fake lake to showcase Canada's beauty. Clearly, I came prepared. Well, in reality, looks like it turned out to be more of a wading pool.
No, it wasn't $2 million. The $2 million was for the whole setup of Experience Canada.
Well, maybe not.
The fake lake, the pool portion was $57,000.
Back outside, that's about how much money this downtown business owner expects to lose this week as he closes shop because of this.
In a police state.
Everything going on has scared away all the tenants and the customers.
And as the leaders get ready to roll in, the protesters get ready to
Rise up, rebel before it's too late.
Everyone looks ready. The question is, are they? Lauren Lister, RT, Toronto, Canada.
So yes, Christine, as you just saw, Lauren covered a lot there with the security measures, the protests. We're certainly going to be seeing a lot more protests starting tomorrow when the summits actually take place.
Lindsay, I know we're gonna talk with you the next hour, and you're gonna tell us a lot more about what we just saw in Lauren's report about the security and also about the press center there. We can see a little bit we can see behind you right now. You want to give us a little sneak peek about what you might be telling us next hour?
Well, yes, as you can see, I'm in the press center, and big screens right behind me. Not sure how much you can see, but yeah, as Lauren mentioned in her package, there's a lot of money that went into this. There's the fake lake, as you saw, and a lot of exciting stuff we'll be bringing you at 5 p.m.
Lindsay, I see that one of those screens behind you showing sort of some beauty shots of Canada, but tell me, there's some pretty other important things going on the world stage. We like to call it the World Cup. Are people watching the games there?
Oh yes, they are definitely watching it. I'm not sure if you can see it behind me. They're probably on different screens, but there's a lounge area where there's a big screen set up that's been showing the World Cup. All the different workstations, there are little TVs set up. All of the press is paying attention. You know, lots of international press here. They all want to cheer on their countries. You can hear some cheers, some boos, you know. Every time there's a goal, it's just, this place erupts. So the World Cup is, you know, certainly something that they also want to keep track on, not only the G8 and the G20 summits.
Seems like it might make it a little difficult to get work done. You know, Lindsay, just real briefly, I covered the G8 back when it was in Savannah, Georgia, and Sea Island, and the press center really was where the press stayed the whole time. Is that what you guys are going to be doing, or are you going to be able to venture out a little bit?
Oh, we'll definitely venture out. You know, we're just, we've been here. We had to give you a story, but, you know, we'll definitely be out in the streets later bringing you the protests and all the exciting stuff from the streets.
All right, Lindsay Garfield joining us live there in Toronto, Canada. The boots on the ground for us, eyes and ears.